Hello, this is a simple bat and ball game using the gravity simulation that I made in the last video. I code this as if it's live so you can follow along quite easily. And if you do, then maybe you can make it into a game of your own, adding your own little quirks and techniques. So if that sounds like something that you'd like to do, then continue watching. At the end of the last video, I finished with this gravity simulation where this ball is bouncing up and down on this red line. And in order to make the bat and ball game, I've got an extra red line down here already, which can be used for one wall of the bat and ball game. And it has to be a separate sprite because it's going to behave slightly differently. So I've got a line 2, which is basically the same picture, but I've just turned it round. And so what I need to do is I need to make it so that the ball bounces along, so it's moving along the x-axis at the same time as we've got this gravity simulation going on with the y-axis. So I can use the existing code for the y-axis as a kind of model for how I want the x-axis to behave. The only thing I won't need is this line here, which makes the gravity effect. But everything else will be basically the same. So I'm going to change x by a variable which I'm going to create, which I'll call x speed. And it's for this sprite only. And also I need an if loop, if statement rather, which is going to say if the x speed is less than 0, then the rest of the code will execute. So if x speed is less than 0, that goes in there. And I need another if statement that's going to detect if it's touching this line. So if it's touching line 2, then I need to set the x speed and it's going to be set to, similar to before, x speed multiplied by a negative number so that it reverses direction. But I'm not going to make it minus 0.9, I'm going to make it minus 1 so that the ball doesn't lose any speed as it's bouncing around. It keeps the speed that it's got and doesn't change from the speed that I set it to at the beginning. So I need to set the x speed at the beginning, and to begin with I'm going to make the ball head off in this direction so that I can see that it's bouncing off the line on this side and behaving properly. So I'll change it to -5 so that it goes to the left, and then we can see how this works. Okay, it's bouncing off the line on the left hand side, and of course it's getting stuck on the right hand side of the screen because I haven't told it what to do when it gets over there yet. So let's make it so that if the x position is greater than 235. Now you know that the right hand side is x is 240, so if I make it 235, it'll make sure it handles it properly. So the x position is greater than 235, and just for now I'll make it so that it just stops everything, and that will be the end of a life or the end of the game. So it bounces off the left, gets to the right hand side, and then stops. Okay. The next thing I need to do is organize a bat sprite, and so I've got one here on my desktop which I downloaded from the internet, and inside the costume I'm going to, it's a PNG at the moment because I downloaded it, so I need to convert it to a vector, and then I can make it smaller, and that's about the right size for our game. Move it into the center here, and now I'll move that over to the right hand side. And what this bat is going to do is it's going to track the Y position of the mouse pointer. So when I move the mouse pointer around, this is going to go up and down. It's not going to follow the mouse pointer, so I will only track the Y and not the X. So after a flag click and inside a forever loop, it's going to set the Y position to the position of mouse Y. And let's see how that works. Okay, that's perfect. Now back to the ball sprite. And once again, inside the forever loop that I've got here, I'm going to say if it's touching the bat, then the X speed is going to change to X speed times -1. So the ball will be batted back in the direction that it came from across the screen. Okay, I can see it reversing direction as it hits the bat. I don't want it to get trapped behind the bat like you might have seen it just happen there. So I only want it to hit the ball back if the ball is travelling in a direction to the right. So like I did before, here I need another if statement around the outside of that. So if the X speed is greater than 0, then that's when that's going to happen. So I'll just get that and put that in there. So if the X speed is greater than 0, then all this code is going to execute. If the X speed is less than 0, in other words, it's coming back across the screen this way, the bat won't do anything to it. The last thing I'd like to do is make it so that the ball bounces upwards with the speed of the bat. So if the bat is going fast, then the ball bounces up fast. And if the bat is moving slowly, then the ball bounces slowly. So in order to do that, I need to be able to find out how fast the bat is going. But the bat is following the speed of the mouse pointer. So however fast the mouse pointer is going, that will be the speed of the bat. So I need to be able to track the speed of the mouse pointer. And I can do that by finding out where the mouse pointer was in the previous frame, and as in the last frame, and find out where it is in this frame, and look at the difference between them. So if the difference is, say, 10 pixels between where the mouse pointer was before and where it is now, then that'll be a speed of 10 pixels for that particular frame. So in order to do that, I need to make a new variable, which is going to be the previous Y position of the mouse pointer. And it's for this sprite only. And what I'm going to do is every time through the loop, I'm going to set that previous y to the y position of the mouse. And I'm going to do that at the end of the loop. So after all the code is executed, it gets to the end, and then it sets this new variable I've just made to where the mouse pointer was for that particular loop. Now, the next time through the loop, I can find out what the speed of the mouse pointer was by finding the y position now and taking one away from the other. So inside an operator, I'm going to take away the y position now for the mouse. I'm going to take away the previous y position. So the difference between the two is how fast the mouse pointer was moving. And so what I want to do with that is I'm going to set the y speed of the ball to that speed that I've just worked out. And let's see how this works. All right, looks like that's working quite well. Okay.